Welcome again to Writing 101 and Feb 14th. Hope that everybody is having a good day so far. And I want to cover something about writing. And I spent some time thinking about this. And this is something, a framework I wanted you to start thinking about. That is that writing is not just words on a page. Writing is more holistic than that. And I want you to start thinking about what writing really means. Personally, I think it's the most powerful way to shape the world. If you think about buildspace, at the end of the day, for the longest time, we're really just people who put words into email, words in a tweet, and then words into a video, right? And you're literally inviting people into your mind, your stories, and your view of the world. I'm telling you this because I get a sense from most of you that you're actually creators at heart, even though you're building different things. So, anybody seen this particular phrase? Yeah. If you know about this, don't tell the rest, right? Okay. Those of you who don't know, what comes to your mind when you see just one sentence? I'm glad my mom died.
Psychopath.
Psychopath? Stupid?
Maybe the mom was abusive.
Maybe the mom was abusive. What else?
Resilience.
Resilience. What are some emotions that go through your head?
Sadistic.
So when I see this, actually one of the emotions that run through me is less of a judgment, more of a, that's really sad actually. And I'm showing you this because immediately you're like invited, you're actually completely consumed by this one sentence, right? But I want to show you something more. Don't ever separate visuals from writing. It's part of a greater whole. So this can have a psychopathic tone, can have a very sad tone. But if you pair it with it's actually the title of a book, I'm glad my mom died. So suddenly like the color palette and this picture makes it funny, right? So it's like no longer just something that is sad or psychopathic. You think it's still psychopathic?
I just don't understand the contrast there. Like,
What
why
do you
is it? The title by itself is sad, has negative tones, but then this is bright, and I still don't associate the entire whole as something like bright. It's just still weird.
Yeah. So this particular book actually blew up, and it's meant to be a comedy, but it's actually about she's actually an actress. And kind of talks about her mom in a comedic way, but actually the meat of the story is rather sad. So I talked to quite a few of you, and I know that many of you want to know how to, this is the biggest one, write a good hook, tell a story, write a cold email, better landing page copy. The list goes on and on and on. And if you recall, Staven had a mental model that was a baby bolt. Looking at some of the stuff that you guys have posted and written, I think it's better if we just kind of look at the overall process first. I think it all starts with knowing what good writing is. If you recall from the design lecture, good design is, actually, what's good design according to Staven? You guys remember?
Usable, useful, and beautiful.
Yeah. There's something similar to writing. It needs to be clear, meaningful, and persuasive. And we'll get to what each of these mean and how we will do that. So clear. This is something that I see a lot. If people don't even understand what you're trying to say, they won't even care. And the worst case scenario is that you put something out into the world, people can't even say yes, and they can't even say no. So they just scroll right past, right? Or they don't even read it. So here's a tweet, and I'm using a lot of examples, and I don't actually want to show who did them. This is not from SF2, this is from online. And if you want to look at really bad writing examples, oftentimes you could just look at crypto Web3 type stuff. So if you do a quick scan, like, what is this tweet about? Anybody tell me?
It's really small. It's shilling.
Oh, I see.
Coin.
Yeah, it's like very hard to tell exactly what's going on, right? So chances are you're just gonna scroll past. interestingly, this account is actually rather big. So you need to have people understand you first. And the second thing is, I say meaningful because I want you to communicate something of value. And the value actually can come in all kinds of forms. For a lot of you building SaaS, it could be saving time, saving money. And for some of you content creators, making them laugh. That to me is like the pinnacle offering somebody value because laughter can transcend many things and or interesting information, etc., etc., etc. So I'll give you an example. This is a very popular example of a cold email that somebody sent to Sean Puri. Let's just take a moment to break this down, right? I made an irreversible decision. So this particular email is because Sean Puri was kind of looking for people to hire, right? So let's just look at this. Hey, Sean, I made an irreversible decision. Just 30 days in, I quit some job. The opportunity cost of not being full-time in crypto was too high, right? Lucky for you, this means that I'm on the market. I think you should hire me. And you don't even have to read the rest. He already bolded what you should read. I quit this job. I think you should hire me. I'd love to run NFT experiments for Milk Road, right? So already it's like, when Sean got this to him, it was very meaningful. It's also understandable what this person wants, right? And before I get to this last bolded part, I want to talk about persuasive. If you recall from the marketing lecture, we kind of talk about marketing ultimately is you want somebody to take action. It could either to buy your thing, sign up for a subscription, or adopt your point of view. And what I mean by adopt point of view is that you're convincing somebody that what you're offering is of value, or you're convincing somebody that your point of view is actually like the right way. If you look at buildspace, right, the 2424 lecture, sorry, not lecture, the live stream, we spent a lot of time telling the audience our view of education, how we could do it better, right? So if you come back to this example, it's very persuasive for Sean to at least talk to him, right? Because he ends with, I got 2 ideas, one for Milk Road, one for MFM, want to hear them. So it makes the reader's life really easy. It's a yes or no, right? So I want to break down how we start from all of them. Any questions so far? Cool. So I was looking at a lot of examples. I think the most important thing you need to start is work backwards from intent. What do you want to say to people? I think that's actually a really difficult thing that I have seen in a lot of the examples, is that it's very unclear what is it that you actually want to say to people. And even our own content team, we oftentimes struggle with this. And this is what I like to think about a lot. Keep shooting and figure out your target. Now, this is actually really important. You need to keep on posting because this is the only way you can get feedback, whether or not you are finding the right target, or even if that's a target that you want. And think of this as a process. And the most important thing is how many of you like write on a regular basis during SF2? Not for your stuff, like you write for yourself. Yeah, quite a few of you. I highly recommend that if you're not doing that, take some time to do it. Our entire team spend time writing about all sorts of stuff so that we can actually wrap our heads around what we're trying to build. So let me give you an example. We went off grid for basically a month and we're figuring out what to build. But the forcing function that's really good for us is anytime we're coming up with something new, we immediately think about how will we communicate this to our audience? How will we communicate this to the world? And it's oftentimes a messy process, but it's something that you can just iterate even within yourselves. So this is from my app, Ulysses. Farza and I, we started jamming about what's a message we can send to our audience, right? So if you look at this, there are 4 versions of this. Actually, it ended up being like 6 to 10 versions of just all these different drafts. You can see the title, we shut down our company for a month. I became a monk for a month. I I don't know how many of you read buildspace emails, but eventually the landing title would always change. How many of you read this or received this? Yeah. So this was one version of our message, right? And we really thought about our intent. Our intent was, one, we want to tell people that we're doing something different this year. Two, we want to tell people that we have the same mission, right? To build a world where anyone with an idea can turn it reality. And then the third thing is there are different segments of our audience. We need to address questions, right? So this one would be wins, nights, and weekends, S5. And those of you that hit this email is probably because you're in S4. Actually, all of you are in S4. That's why I got the email. And then this is another iteration of the same message, right? This one is more personal to Farza. Most of you are probably familiar with founder stories plus cliches. Steve Jobs finding himself in India while doing LSD. Phil Knight traveling the world before coming up with Nike. But this message again is all tying back to like our intent. And our intent is to be clear about what we're doing next and also provide something meaningful. And then lastly, persuade them to come to 2424. How many of you read this? You can go check it out. It's buildspace.so/hyper. It's a very long read. If you really want to understand where our head is at, this is actually a pretty good read. Again, same message, but now in a 10-minute format, right? You guys all know that we're building software now. So for a month, the whole team would jam about different ideas. I would jam about all of the ideas, and then I made it down to a pitch deck to myself. Again, I need to first figure out what the hell am I trying to say to the audience, right? So to me, I was like, okay, how do people connect with each other? So I started breaking down to myself, their ancient forms of connection, modern forms of connection, contemporary forms of connection. How can buildspace elaborate or build upon that? Now, all of this building into a grander narrative, even things like this. We'll kind of talk about this deeper. This is the map for the entire live stream. And Josh and I are thinking about, there are different moments that a person experiences in a 1 hour live stream or even a 1 hour film. When is the audience happy? I put a smiley face. When are they dipping down? I'll say, when they figure out S5 is going to be delayed, they're going to be sad as fuck. We got to bring them back up, make them happy. So we really have to communicate why S5 is delayed, right? So working backwards from intent is probably one of the most important things. That's going to start to make everything else really easy. But figuring out intent is actually very difficult. So how to be clear and understandable. How many feel very confident that my writing is very clear and understandable? Yeah? I know you are. I'm going to give you a shout out later, Dad. How about you, Brittany?
I thought you meant yours.
Oh, not me. Not me. No. Anybody feel like I got this down? Yeah.
Well, just as far as technical writing, I think
Okay.
I've done a lot of that, and I think I know how to make them clear.
Yeah. When was the moment that you're like, I know that what I'm writing is clear and understandable?
I don't know. When I started writing stuff on Wikipedia.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
I would say generally I feel like I'm pretty confident in terms of leveraging the style I want to communicate and what I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah.
So that balance between design and the words themselves. Obviously there's always room for improvement, but I feel like I'm getting very close to finding my thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm a pretty clear writer eventually because I'm pretty brutal with what I cut.
Yeah.
We'll come back and rewrite the whole thing.
How do you know when
I ask.
this is clear?
I ask people.
Yeah. I think it's really good practice, no matter what you're making. And again, just want to stress that writing is part of a whole. Is that when you make something, you can look at it and go, this is doing what I wanted to do. Start to build that realization up, because once you do that, then making things become faster and easier. This is my take. If you can master just this, you're 90% there with good writing. If you can master this, you're 90% there with actually making good videos. So another framework for you to think about, I think all of you know this as well.
Yes. So that 90% is when you feel that that your writing communicates your initial intent with
Yes.
which you started with.
Yeah. If you can do that, like, it's already really good. So framework is, we always talk about write with an eraser, because oftentimes if you want to make what you're writing good and clear, is you need to just cut out a bunch of extraneous things, a bunch of things that don't matter. Yes?
So what's the difference between something being extraneous and like storytelling?
We'll get to that actually. So a lot of times, have you guys heard of the principle inversion? Yeah, Charlie Munger, the right-hand man of Warren Buffett, often talks about this. He said, this actually helped me a lot later last year. Oftentimes when you want to do something, you always think about, I got to do all of these things in order to achieve that. But the best thing to do oftentimes is to figure out what not to do. So like, if you want to do something more, like if you want to write more, then there are all kinds of stuff that you should just stop doing, right? That won't distract you. So, not throwing shade, again, at anyone. This is not from your example, but we've been trying to hire a video producer, and this is one applications. Take a moment to look at this. Can you read it? Yeah. Also, if you're like, nah, I don't even want to read this, don't read it. That's actually a really good response as well. Yeah. How about that? How about that? Oh, everybody says it fails ChatGPT. Why? Yeah. Let's do a practice in. I must say, this isn't good, but it's not necessarily terrible, right? This is like a first draft, and this person obviously has some experience, and I think that if this person were to take a little bit more time, it could be much stronger, right? So let's do this exercise then. I'm going to come in here. You guys can see this, right? Hold on. Let's just start erasing. You will see that once you start erasing things, it'll be even better. All right, what should we erase? Okay, somebody said diverse, so let's just erase this.
I would actually delete the whole first paragraph.
Okay, so two people said delete
I
whole.
think the second paragraph is a better place to start. I love what you're building.
What else should we erase?
The third paragraph.
This one? Basically, you're saying just start over. Wow, you guys are harsher critics than I am.
I want to ask like why people don't want the first paragraph.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
I mean, you have to know who they are.
Go ahead.
In the second paragraph, like, I would not do. I would not write. It's not something I would have.
Sure is signature.
So at this point, hey Farza, let's just collab. Yeah.
It's the second sentence of that.
Sorry, Karen?
So the first paragraph is seemingly meant to establish legitimacy.
Yeah.
And so honestly, that could just be stated as, I have experience at multiple companies, here's my portfolio.
Yeah. Keep going. What's the next paragraph?
So the second paragraph I think is actually pretty good. good in terms of communicating what they want. Honestly, you can just leave it at that.
Okay.
Cut it down and make it
Dread.
sense.
I feel like the third paragraph and maybe the last line seems like the person asking too much from you guys, as opposed to like applying for something. It's like, it seems like a very like collaborative thing where it's like, I feel like you should be, the tone should change when like you guys, like, you should be asking for something as opposed to like, now it just seems too much like, I don't know, like, he's like, let's collaborate on something. But
Yeah.
I feel like the choice of words is very much like, oh, like you guys want him and he's doing you guys like a favor by like giving
Yeah.
this email. I
Right.
don't know.
Paragraph is good, but I would not write it, I would just attach links of my previous work.
Yeah.
Maybe it will be like,
It's a video.
maybe things should not be the first thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of cool to just start saying, oh, this is my experience, blah, blah, blah. We'll rather start with something more like this, hey guys, I love what you're building, would love to
Yeah.
join, this is what it did. So,
Just absolutely no relevance to like buildspace, like I could have sent this
Exactly.
to anyone and
Yeah.
it would still work.
Yeah, like the one to Sean is like, Sean Pro is very personal, right? Do you want to say that, Michael? And then I'm going to move on to the next one.
Oh, I was just gonna agree with the same thing, like I looked at it and I was like, this is a video producer and there's like no video in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a video, and I'm like,
exactly.
Yep.
you'd think you'd wanna promote like, hey, here's something awesome I did, like, check it out. And tell me if you like it, reach out to me.
Hold
I
on.
don't know.
Quick moment for a break. If you have not watched 2424 live stream, please look it over there. We will tell you all about our AI product. In the meantime, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. Yeah. Yes, last one.
Last one is that there's not an easy way for somebody to make a decision.
Yes, there's not an easy way for somebody to make a decision. I'm going to give you, I rewrote this, and I'm going to give you my take. Now you're gonna think, oh well, Jeff is like writing a very Jeff buildspace way. Yes, but I think that actually kind of shows if you're doing anything creative at buildspace, you kind of need to understand like where we're coming from, right? So take a moment to read this. Okay, okay. Is this better? No, this is my copy. I changed it to Manrope too. Manrope helps. How many would you hit me up?
Sure. Why not?
Why not? How could it be stronger?
Yeah, depends on link as well.
Yeah. I think the most important thing is the link, right? Like oftentimes, if you could just show something. So let me read you through it. Damn, I really like the content Buildspace is putting out there. It's really a fresh take on what education is. So I'm kind of establishing like I at least have some context what you're doing, right? And then this part. To be honest, I'm inspired to ditch everything I got going on in the past to work with y'all. My work with startups, traditional broadcast TV, media, for ads, live streaming, etc. I know people won't read that. But I know they will read, none of that matters. You understand what I did there? It's like, I'm showing that I already have all these experience. By setting it a different way, I'm saying that all of this experience, actually, I'm willing to learn what you guys do because I'm reinforcing, I think you guys do a fresh take, so for me to join you, it should be fresh, right? You're doing something new and I want to be part of it, just to kind of reinforce that. Check out 3 things I made in the past I'm proud of and I think you'll like too. Hit me up for a chat, and then at the very end, this also shows that I study what Buildspace is doing, and I'm like, your YouTube sucks. So I'm going to help you do with your YouTube, right? So this at least makes it seem like, yeah, it's a quick no or quick yes based upon the links. Let's move on to, and don't want to leave you hanging for a story. I actually took the time and say, can you drop a link to something that you made and are super proud of? Because I'm very inspired by our teammate Alec. He's the nicest guy on earth. And I thought, yeah, maybe he just forgot to put the links in. Well, this is what he said. And really could have been better. Apologies for the wall text. I try to be concise. Yeah. How many of you know Sticker Mule? Yeah. What do you think of their ads?
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Song and I love their emails. Hello. Tape is half off today. I'm listening. I don't really need tape, but it's half off, so I'm listening. Get 100 feet of custom tape for only $9. Normally $19 plus free shipping. Anthony, co-founder, Sticker Mule. P.S. New deal tomorrow. I'm like, this is sick. Like, I feel my life feels kind of, it's missing something when I don't get an email from Anthony now. So again, I'm sure that Anthony could have written something that is 1,000 words long, but this hits hard, right? Look at this one, right? All of you seen this one? Oh. There you go. All of you seen this one, right? All of you interacted with it? Why is this one good?
You don't have to read much.
Yeah, tell me more. You don't have to read much.
I mean, it's just like basically 3 lines of text.
Yeah.
I also love that he's trying to disclaimer.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Look, I'm just, go ahead.
It's kind of along the lines of like being able to easily say yes or no. You can self-select it so quickly.
Yeah. I'm just going to read this out loud. 3 months ago, I bought a business making $500 per month for $4,000 on acquire.com. You run acquire.com, right? No? Oh, wait, yeah, you bought it from there, right? Yeah, you bought it from acquire.com. So he immediately says, I bought a business for making $500 per month. And then he says, now worth $100K and made $4,000 last month. How many of you are already interested how he did this? Yeah, almost everybody, right? I also love what he did here. Disclaimer, please try this at home. Like, I feel a sense of trust that this was a thread. I know that when I click in, like, it's gonna give me like little chunks of stuff that just like makes me happy when I read it. Any questions on clear and understandable? Good? Let's move on to meaningful. This is where the storytelling can really come in. So I know that every time, how many of you have been told you need to know your audience? Like this just drones on and on and on. And I want to kind of redefine what knowing your audience truly means. You need to write for people who are meaningful to you. Anybody recognize this background? What is it?
Everything Everywhere.
Yeah, this is Everything Everywhere All at Once, the movie. And when you watch a movie and also listen to an interview, you just know that this movie was crafted for a crowd, right? It was so obvious when you watch a movie. And I think it's because when they were crafting the story, they're writing for people who are meaningful to them. And I was very careful in my word choice. I didn't say write to people. You want to write for people. You want to do something for people. And if you can do that, then you write things that are genuinely meaningful. Even as simple as this. Hello, tape is half off today. I'm pretty sure that Anthony probably at some point, yo Anthony, I know at some point you read a lot of emails, but you cut all the bullshit, and this was very meaningful to me. And here's a trick. Helpful to imagine writing, what is going on here? This is bad writing. Helpful to imagine the person you're writing for. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say here? So, who's the first person you should be writing for? Yeah, so every time when you show us something, we are always telling you, would you even stop for this? Would you even read this? Because if you're not convincing yourself, then this thing is probably not going to be meaningful to anyone else. It's very obvious when you see especially TikTok, right? TikTok and IG is a very interesting one where you can always tell who's trying to gain impressions, and all of the hooks and everything are all very formulaic. And so oftentimes, if I start to write with Farza, I would actually write to my past self, because I was in a state probably 2 or 3 years ago that I would be like, yeah, I want to do nights and weekends, I want to do nights and weekends. After I can write for young Jeff, then I would think, okay, I'm going to really think about a nights and weekends person I've come across, and this person is literally across from me, and I am trying to tell this person and convince this person this is a really good path. And that is where you can start to story tell. Let me see. Can you guys read this? Hard? Josh shared this with me. We're both Kendrick Lamar fans. Anybody seen this before? Take a moment. It's kind of long, but I'm just going to read the first thing. I spent most of my days with fleeting thoughts, writing, listening, and collecting old beach cruisers. The morning rides keep me on a hill of silence. I go months without a phone. How many of you relate to this idea of going months without a phone? Yeah, it's like, right? Like, it kind of hits hard for you. Like, I do not want to be with my phone. And so this is actually Kendrick Lamar just telling everybody that, hey, I'm going to see you soon, but I need to go do this thing for myself. And you probably saw the inspo for us. Why? Because we're trying to figure out, how does an artist communicate what's next for him? How can we communicate what's next for us? So if you go to the OS, you will see this one. We're just kind of iterating. For example, the / what's next, the what's next email, the 2424, and all of it is just our attempts to communicate the same message over and over again. But yeah, if you want to take time, you can read this on the OS. And I think one thing to always recognize, and I actually also want to make a side comment, is a lot of you are very eager and hunger to like go viral. And I totally get that. Josh and I are constantly like, damn, why did this one get under 10K? This is fucked up. But it's very important to stay authentic. It will pay off. I swear to God, this will be the last time I mention Taylor Swift. I know that Taylor Swift has been mentioned too often, and this is the last time I'll talk about this. Anybody know what this album is? Nobody listens to Taylor Swift here? Red. Yeah, Red. Who here just hates Taylor Swift now? Okay. Yeah. Well, she's been on the news a lot. Okay. So, I want to start a story. The story is actually incredible. It's 2012. Taylor was about your age, 23-ish. She wrote this song when she was 21. And the song is called All Too Well, in which she put in the album Red. This is the OG 2012 album. And these are the lyrics. I walked through the door with you, the air was cold. If you don't care about music, it's whatever, right? Here's the important part, though. All Too Well was her favorite song, but she literally thought that, this is meaningful to me, but I don't think people are going to care. But I want to put this into my album anyways. And the fans were crazy for it. This has become like one of her anthems. How many of you know, can you guys see these little bracelets? Do you know what they are? What are they? Yeah. Taylor Swift encouraged her fans. Actually, tell us about what Taylor Swift's friendship bracelets are.
I don't know that much about it, but like they make them at concerts and pass them out, right? Like exchange them.
Yeah. When you go to a concert, you can make. I actually never been. I just like studying her. Okay. Now. You go in my Spotify wrap up, just Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift. I always share my Spotify wrap up. I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, so when you go to her concert, she has all of you make friendship bracelets. It's actually a pretty cool phenomenon. Once you make that friendship bracelet, you exchange with total strangers with different messages. And they will also all request this song All Too Well. And Taylor just like totally floored. And so 2 years ago, she re-releases the album Red, but it's called Taylor's version. It's because when she first released the album, most of the songs were controlled by the studio. So she said, fuck that. I'm just gonna go re-record this song. This will be my version. And it expanded the song into 10 minutes long, still one of people's favorite. And this background image, she actually turned it into a short film. All of you seen Stranger Things? What's the girl with the red hair? She actually stars in this. It's a pretty good short film, actually. Yeah, yeah. Just a character. Don't worry about it. Any questions about keeping it meaningful? Any thoughts? I specifically bring up. Thank you. I specifically bring up artists as inspo because I think they're one of the best people to tell stories. And oftentimes, you can actually take all of these lessons to build it into your brand, even if it's SaaS. And I'll explain why later. Any questions? Yeah.
So I'm actually curious, like, so say for me, like, what's something that would be meaningful to me or like that I find interesting is just like, let's say like a cool business, you know,
Yeah.
just like something that I'm showcasing, but I'm not sure how to like think of that as like meaningful.
Yeah.
You know, or like how to like just like kind of put what you're suggesting into practice for like.
Yeah. So Dev and I had a conversation. He's trying to grow his LinkedIn. You're trying to be the micro startup guy, right? And one thing that's very meaningful, even to me, is somebody who breaks down micro startups, either acquiring them or how they become big, right? So the value that you're offering me is actually like pretty high because you're giving me like really interesting info. Even if we go back to like your tweet, even the little things as like disclaimer, please try this at home, is already building a story in, right? Okay, next part, how to make something persuasive. You want to make something persuasive because ultimately you want somebody to, again, buy your thing, subscribe, sign up, whatever it is, right? But I just want to remind you, if you can do really clear and understandable writing, and your writing is meaningful, you're 95% of the way there. And there are all kinds of tricks, but only one thing matters most, in my opinion, to be persuasive. Do you have any idea what that is? Yeah. Authenticity, okay.
Be persuasive.
Excuse me?
What do you ask? Be persuasive.
Yeah, what's the one thing that matters most to being persuasive?
You actually ask.
You actually ask?
Be persuaded.
Convince them that there's something you're gonna get out of doing, like, whatever, it's like reading your thing,
Yeah.
liking, signing up.
Okay.
There's something you're gonna get out of it.
Make it personal.
Make it personal, yeah.
Relatability?
Yeah.
Make it easy for them to
Okay. I actually believe it's consistently doing 1 and 2. Because everything you're telling me is actually you just showing up. I know that we keep on talking about like showing up. It's actually really important. If you can consistently do 1, communicate clearly to people, and offering them value, that is like the most authentic way to be persuasive. Because chances are you're not going to launch something and then just get it the first time. That just rarely happens. All of you know Naveed. I love this guy's emails. Naveed shows up every single day, and he offers me so much value as a person using the app. Naveed, he says, Unreadle now finds citations for you. Visualize connections between items in your library, now available in 30+ languages. I know this seems like not sexy at all, but He shows up every day in my inbox, and he just improves it. And if you go read his copy, it's just Naveed being Naveed. He's not trying to sell anything. He's just trying to provide you value. Also, interesting, right? He doesn't have like an amazing hook in terms of the email, but the value prop is so good. I do want to give you one skill to help you be more persuasive, though. It's called building momentum in your writing. So, I'm going to read this out loud, and I think, oh, thank you, Romit. Hold on. There you go. I'm going to read this out loud so you can actually hear the rhythm that's actually in your head. Hey there, Pat here. Happy Wednesday. I have a confession. Starter Story would have failed miserably without the help of one place, the r/entrepreneur subreddit. I was able to hack the subreddit and get millions of free users for $0. Even crazier, I did this when I was a nobody. You see, the sentences are so short, like you can't help but just like boom, 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 boom. And it just builds upon itself, right? So keep the sentences short and avoid using jargon. I highly recommend when you're writing, do not have really long sentences. This is also true when you're making video. Try to see like, for example, you could have an entire paragraph, but in the video form, what you want to do to build momentum is you maybe have the person saying one short sentence, but you have the video communicate the rest. Anybody recognize this? This is Tyler, the creator, the rapper. These are the lyrics to one of his songs, I'm Sorry. And it's a big chunk of wall of text, but I wanted to bring this example. Let's read it. I'm sorry I don't see you more. I'm sorry that 4 minutes where you see your son could feel like a chore. Sis, I'm sorry I'm your kin. Sorry we ain't close as we should have been. Sorry to my old friends. You see, like, once you get into it, it's fast. It just builds upon itself. There's a rhythm. So, again, I just want to reiterate. This is something you can learn over time, but this is like the rest of the 5% of your writing being persuasive. The first 95% comes from you just being clear, understandable, and then providing value or providing meaning. Here's a classic example. Any of you seen this ad? Just read a few sentences, and I'm going to skip to the very end. Obviously, it's selling whiskey on Father's Day. That's a context. Selling whiskey on Father's Day. Because I have known you all my life, because a red Rudge bicycle once made me the happiest boy on the street, because you let me play cricket on the line, because you used to dance in the kitchen with a tea towel around your waist. Let's go down. Because you wanted to go to McDonald's the last time I bought you lunch, because you have always been there when I needed you. Let's go down a little bit more. Because I don't say thank you as often as I should, because it's Father's Day, because if you don't deserve Cheval's Regal, who does? Right? So this format hit hard for the audience back in the day. But you see, it's just like because, it just builds upon itself. You just keep reading and reading and reading, and next thing you know, you're holding a bottle in your hand, one for your dad and one for yourself. Excuse me?
It's harder when your dad's alcoholic.
True. Disclaimer. Yeah.
That reminds me of the Think Different campaign by Apple.
Excuse me?
That reminds me of the Think Different campaign by Apple. Like
Yeah. Think Different campaign. Thank you. How many of you seen this stupid email? Yeah. There's a particular thing with this email I want to show you. I want to give you an actual tool that you can start using. Hey, it's Jeffrey and Josh from Buildspace here. We grind. We pull all-nighters. We work our butt cheeks off. All of this for one important thing, a show for 32 outstanding builders. But Farza isn't happy with the current numbers. He said there aren't enough signups, and now he's been acting weird around us. We're worried. Look, the job market in SF isn't that great right now, and Josh has an expensive Pizza Hut diet to maintain. Blah, blah, blah. And again, think about this, right? This would not hit as well if it didn't have the picture. So even when you think about writing, it needs to be part of the whole. Okay. This is called the Hemingway app, and if you put it in, oh, thank you very much. If you put it in, you will see that the readability level of this is grade 1. If you're writing things and it requires somebody with a PhD to read, unless you're writing for people who have PhDs and reading a research paper, it's probably not the best use of writing. So yeah, this app is Hemingway. Yeah.
What happens if you are writing things that are necessarily more complex?
It will go back to who's your audience, right? So if it's a technical document, like what Lucas worked on, then obviously that thing would require a little bit more complexity, right? And I want to leave you with this part. Writing is the easiest and cheapest thing to get good at, because you don't have to buy a camera. You don't have to go buy a camera. You can literally just write. I mean, you can write on the beach sand if you need to practice. This is the cheapest, easiest thing to get good at. That's how Socrates taught his students, actually. And this is a really important thing, and this is something that I actually been learning a lot myself, is that I'm more familiar with Twitter and TikTok, but I'm actually learning a lot from Josh with the Instagram. And when you write, try to keep an open mind on what works and what doesn't, and kill whatever that doesn't work. And this is something that will simplify your life, is this Venn diagram. Again, all of you are creators, and I know that you want to create something that's authentic. So keep it really simple. You make something, a video, an app, what do people like and what you like, and you just try to make this cross-sectional area bigger and bigger and bigger. It'll never be 100%, but you can keep on working towards it. And we won't get into this, but if you can do all of these things, I promise you your brand voice will become stronger over time. Kind of answering Dev, right? Like how to do the storytelling. As you shoot your shots more and more, and you do all of these things, the brand voice will become stronger. Yes?
One thing that stuck out to me in that email of the applicant that he sent you is like something about the tone was just weird. It was like trying to be casual but almost trying too hard, and then like weirdly formal at the same time. And I feel like sometimes I struggle with that, writing emails to people, like trying to figure out how to strike the right balance between those things.
Yeah.
And the buildspace approach kind of seems like you guys are just casual and you know what you like and you're just putting it out there and you like kind of don't care how people. Well, that's at least the impression I get. But
yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think we do care, right? Let me show you an example that I think is okay, you guys caught me. Show us your bracelets. Okay, this does not pull that up. Never mind. I was going to show our latest nights and weekends posts. And I think that's a good example where we kept it very straightforward. And we're actually trying to get a broader audience to watch our DMW lectures, right? So if you go and actually look at our latest nights and weekends posts, it's pretty neutral. I think that's fine. I don't feel like we were sacrificing our voice. But in those times, just keep it really simple, clear and understandable. And then you can slowly tweak your copy and experiment with basically optimizing this thing. So, yes?
There's something I struggle with, which is that sometimes having a direction in the story, like a strong direction and a strong hook, that feels inauthentic. So that would like communicate in my writing as well, that I'm trying to make sure that there's one thing that really sticks out to people and people remember that, but I don't feel that that's authentic because I'm so many other things than just one strong direction.
I think one thing that's like really interesting is when you start to really focus on building an audience early on, you will feel like I need to spend a lot of time crafting this because I don't want people to misunderstand me, right? That's why earlier I said you need to keep on shooting while finding your target, right? So when you're doing that, like Josh and I have been doing this a lot lately. We shoot something and we feel like it's not quite this, but we already did the work. Let's just go in and post it and see if people like it. And if people really like it, and we're like, okay, people actually really resonate with this, then how can we make this into something we like better? So even a Taylor Swift story, that song All Too Well was originally 5 minutes long. She wanted to make it 10 minutes, but she thought, nah, like who would want to listen to my 10-minute song? But turns out people really like it. Then she started to like do the things that she likes. Braden was brave enough to show me his cold email. Do you want to share it? Yeah. Let's just take a minute to read this, and let's just kind of workshop how to make this better. Yes. Is this better?
Yeah.
One more zoom? Okay, just remember what the title is. Yeah. What do you guys think?
It's definitely it's clear. It sounds all that.
Yeah.
And it's like he sounds passionate.
What else? How to make it better? Yeah.
I think it should be punchier, like shorter. Yeah. Sentences should be shorter.
Yeah. Adam?
There's a lot of like I want, I am, I need. Like it kind of feels negative for give as well.
Yeah. We'll just usually we almost yes.
At the end it says, please give me a time in the calendar, maybe saying, if you'd be interested in scheduling a time in my calendar for 10 minutes to show a smoke and benefit.
Yeah. So just some context. This is sent to Braden's general audience, people who have started using your app, right? And what's the intent here? Yeah, to get people to help. Yeah, to get feedback, right?
I think one thing too, like even though it's like his audience, people who already signed up, like there's no mention of the fact that they signed up. Like hey, I saw you signed up for my app. Like thanks for doing. Like there's no connection of like why am I getting this email? It's just like I might not even know that that's why I got this email.
Yeah. Anybody have a different title?
I think make it more like about them, like I want to create the perfect tutor, like chess tutor for you.
You could also just call it,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that a small thing I would add is just that Braden wants to make it better for the person. So I would just be like, help me make chess better for you if they're already signed up.
Yeah, I love that line of thought. I think a really good title for this would be something along the lines that I want to help you beat. Is it Carl Magnuson? Yeah, Magnus Carlsen. Actually, it'll be better if you spell, I want to help you beat Carlsen Magnusson or Carl Magnusson, because all of the chess people will get who you're referring to, and they're like, who the hell misspelled, what is it again? Okay, Carl Magnusson to me. Okay, and then here, you can kind of play around that, right? So if you're a chess player, you're like, oh, misspelled Carl Magnusson. Magnum, I cannot do this. Magnum Carl, okay, whatever it is. So then what you want to do is, I love what Michael said, right? You can always say, hey, let's start doing this with an eraser, right? I would say, if they signed up, that means they kind of know about it, right? Then you could just change this to, hey, it's Braden from Chesky, right? Just keep it as short as that. People are like, oh, it's he said Magnum Carlson, and then now I know I'm butchering the name again. And this guy is the guy that built Chesky, right? And here you can actually go in, probably in 2 lines. I am building this to teach you to be better at chess, and in order to do this, let's get on the schedule, right? Just keep it just 3 lines tops, then you're done. And then you can send it again on a weekly basis. Well, that's it for now. Any questions? Yes.
Okay, capitalized sentences or not capitalized?
Honestly, you mean for buildspace or just in general?
Yeah, in life.
Oh, I capitalize.
Okay, then what's buildspace philosophy?
We keep it lowercase is because we feel like that kind of fits the hacker creative vibe, and it instantly feels more casual. Yeah. But I mean, I use caps. You know what? I'm gonna start writing all caps. I'm committing this for 2024. What? Any other questions? Yes.
What's the balance of like show, don't tell in email? Especially, I'm trying to I have 3 days left to sign people up for my course. Like, yeah, what's the balance of like telling them what I'll offer or what will happen or whatever versus like showing them? How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that oftentimes if you offer a service, I think it's great to just show like 80% of the time of that service. And your 20% of the time is actually just describing what makes the service beneficial to you. So yeah, I always lean towards like showing because that's just like way faster to consume. Now, sometimes as you saw, there were some emails that were much longer. Now, when you think about email length and writing, also think about movies. It's not so much a piece of paper that's 1,000 words that makes it long or a movie that's 3 hours that makes it long. It's the pacing. And you can hack around all of the pacing. Yeah.
Wait, what do you recommend for the 80%?
I'll lean like 80% always showing.
Any suggestions for how to do that?
For your stuff, we can chat later. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So you said like, like if when it's sort of clear, giving a lot of value and like being consistent with it, going viral shouldn't be what we aim for, right? So what should be like those metrics that we look at, to say that like, to know that we're like doing those 3 things,
Yeah, I think one thing that's really important, and this is really important for like when you're posting things early on, it's less so impressions. You want to look at the ratio between the engagement with impressions. So like if you send something and 100 people saw it, but 10 people liked it, that's actually not bad, right? That's like 1 in 10 people liked the thing that you did. So I'll give you kind of like what Josh and I have been doing. We've been shipping content that we think is pretty good, but the audience not responding as well. So what do we do then? So what we do is like, let's go back. I think we're communicating things pretty clearly. I think we're communicating things in an authentic way. Then you can start to work on these little like things. So what I realize is like, damn, like I need to be better at hooks. I do not know IG hooks as well. So then it's like, Josh and I started to iterate on that, you see? But like the first 2 things need to be down first. So many of you have not seen an interview style from buildspace, right? That was something we're trying to learn. We were trying to learn this. We were also trying to learn, so all of you know that to grow a channel really well, the channel needs to be like one thing, right? But all of you are building all kinds of stuff. If we ship a video about somebody making music, it can feel a little bit odd, right? You come to buildspace, like, oh, is buildspace making music? And then you're like, wait, they're doing all kinds of stuff. So now we're thinking, okay, how can we tell this idea of our one-liner, which is it's the place where people build cool shit. So how can we tell that in a coherent way? And it's not that easy. That's why like we're iterating and like some of our videos don't do as well and we're trying it out.
Yeah, I think, sorry, the last thing you said really struck me because I think one of my challenges is that I like I'm very eclectic. I like a lot of different things. I find a lot of different things interesting. So it's like harder for me to like narrow down the type of like content I want to make. That's like just one niche. Like okay, it's all music, or it's all X. Like to me, so I don't know. I think the question is like, is that a vibe? Like just to be like, hey, I just like random.
I think it depends on, Samaya and I, we had this conversation. His IG right now is filled with a lot of different things, right? But Samaya asked a question, hey, we asked Samaya a question, what do you really want right now? He wants listeners. So that means when a person comes to Samaya's channel, it should be very clear that's all about his music. Now the creativity comes in because you're very eclectic in all the things that you like, is how can you be eclectic and creative in telling the story of making music in all these different ways so that it still feels coherent. Yeah. Yes?
At buildspace had a bunch of those anime videos back from September to just showcase, just hype people up and things.
Yeah.
This is more like a technical question, but like, how do you like not get copyrighted when you use that stuff?
That is a question I'll consult my legal counselor about. It's platform dependent. Yeah, just say sorry later, I guess. Yes, Ryan?
Could you go back to the starter story email? I just wanted to take a picture. I feel like that was my favorite email out of all of these.
Yeah, that's a really good. Can you see it?
Sticker mule?
Oh wait, sticker mule or this one?
That one.
Okay. By the way, if you go to our YouTube channel, you will see all of the lectures uploaded. We also nicely timestamp them, and we also let you get all of the slides. So after lecture, you can just go back and look at them.
Also, just curious, on the bottom line today, I'm gonna share with you that story. What link did you put under?
He actually just wrote more. If you want, I can forward you the email. It's really good. Yeah. Yeah. Now, yeah. Any other questions? If not, you're dismissed. Cool.